right there around Pangani, and then you didn't get to understand how the state was. Personally, I would be hurt. Very hurt.
Your feelings?
Yes.
Yeah?
In my feelings, like,
Scratch.
what do you mean you don't know? but we had like a feature story on this matter. You know? I mean,
you
generally.
Are extra. You are extra. Really, you are. But thank you so much, Doreen, for that particular update. And Gori, too, who both are coming to us live from various locations around Nairobi County. That will be coming your way as the program goes by, to make sure that you're well aware and updated on what's happening on your roads as you leave. As we kickstart your morning, let's empower you with the information now, shall we? Thank you so much for allowing us. And in case you'd like to participate, the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter, and 22162. That's our SMS line. Begin with the initials GMK. I'm so taken by Doreen, Marshall Doreen's, that I hear Marshall Doreen.
Marshall Doreen. You have. You really have to recognize the title.
Update that
yes.
I almost forgot where we were, but now I've remembered. We're at the point whereby claims of corruption on the floor of the House. I mean, that's a very serious claim, because Kenyans look up to the House for answers, and now we have more questions than answers. And again, the issue of corruption and money exchanging hands on the floor of the House, not on the floor rather,
at least
along the corridors of Parliament.
You're very careful.
You're very careful, very. It's important. It's not the first time we're hearing this. We all remember the disbandment of the Parliamentary Accounts Committee that was led by Ababu Namwamba, and the back and forth that ensued thereafter, and some of the claims included, but not limited to, the exchange of money, that money was exchanging hands, compromising the quality of reports. That has been an issue we've been dealing with. But now my concern is, the report was thrown out. It cannot be discussed, it cannot be touched, according to the standing orders, for the next 6 months. 6 months will find us into March next year, thereabout. The political, media, and public agenda in March 2019 could not be sugar. It will be the upcoming population census in 2019. So when exactly shall we ever get conclusive answers on whether or not the sugar we continue to consume has impurities? Let's call them impurities for now. Has impurities. Number two, when shall this issue get the attention it deserves? And number three, when shall we ever get the names of those people who could be responsible of this, or what Kenyans are going through right now? And most importantly, what becomes of our sugar belt after this conversation? Because it is right here, Western, right here. So what becomes of our sugar belt? What became of it? And what becomes of it
now
after this conversation?
You know, let's just start with now what becomes of the sugar belt, because that is a very sensitive area to begin with. Remember, according to the president's Big Four agenda, industrialization, manufacturing is really part of it, and in a very great way. And of course, we're looking at trying to revive the economies in this country that were actually stifled, you know, for various reasons.
That's
probably
true.
Some of them embezzlement of funds that had gone into those companies. And we've seen deliberate effort from, you know, concert quarters trying to inject the funds into it, trying to revive it. But, you know, that is not even sustainable, you know. So in the meantime, I mean, a very big percentage of the sugar claimed to contain the impurities was actually that which was exported, right? Or rather imported.
Imported, yeah.
Right? Yet, do we even really need to be exporting the sugar? You know,
in the first place.
In the first place, do we really need to be doing this? Because the companies locally here, if well empowered, if the locals are well empowered, if that is well refined, we probably would not be talking about such things. Because some of the reports that we were getting during the, you know, that story is that maybe the impurities were during packaging, or probably during shipping.
Or storage.
Or even storage. You know, so there's so many things, and most of them are just oversights
that we need to consider.
That we really need to consider
we also
as the basic issues.
That you know, some sugar was transported using lorries that are used to transport building materials like sand, like stone. That is why you find some brands of sugar have the so-called impurities that you're talking about. So how would you use the same means of transportation for building materials to transport something that is meant for human consumption? But I would agree with Rose. In our country, we have a tendency of making our possibility to produce these products so impossible. Our companies, we would paint a picture as if we do not have enough resources and capacity to produce these products, so that we create room to allow us import. You saw what happened with the maize the other day. Farmers are crying. They're saying we have maize, it's not being bought. Yet we hear that there is maize coming all the way from Uganda. When did we begin as a country to import maize from Uganda? Kenya, of all the countries.
Whose maize is actually their staple food.
I wonder, when did we start importing maize from countries like Uganda?
And Mexico.
We have a
all the way. All the way. And
it doesn't add up. We have a tendency of making us seem as if it's so impossible. We don't have enough. We cannot. Our companies are closed down. There are no people. So we need to import because we need these products. We need to consume these products. So we create a very fake sort of situation and then come up with a solution.
And I would say
management. It's because of just selfish interests, a businessman somewhere who wants to take advantage of this opportunity, and then we create sort of fake.
So yesterday, last night,
the initial stages of that report that was rejected, I make reference to it because you've raised the issue of, or the question, at what point did we start importing sugar, yet we have an entire sugar belt? And that question has been tackled in that report. And making reference to it is that it states that around last year, there was a time where there was a shortage of sugar, and therefore the House approved import of the same sugar. But they failed to do one very critical thing. They looked at the quantity that was supposed to come in. Congratulations, the more the merrier. But they failed to look at the quality and in terms of regulation.
At what point were they supposed to stop?
Exactly. The importing of the same became so unregulated. And when you have a business environment that is unregulated, any unscrupulous business person out there will take advantage.
Exactly.
So now the greater question is, was the non-regulation a deliberate attempt to create a situation that could warrant money coming into people's pockets, all right? Widening, strengthening, and deepening the coffers of cartels in this country at the expense of Wanjiku yet again.
Of course, now these are the pertinent questions that continue to be raised right here on Good Morning Kenya, and unfortunately, going by the standing orders right there in the August House, we may not be getting those answers anytime soon. That's true. We have to be waiting for the next 6 months. And of course, while still speaking to the matter on trade relations and of course, industrialization and ensuring that we also can maintain the bilateral, or rather, the international trade. Just last evening, Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma did speak to the same matter. And of course, she did talk about the policies currently in place do inform or allow for such an environment where the local industries, whether textile, agriculture or otherwise, are not stifled, and that is what we're supposed probably to be looking at. And of course, remember, this is coming at a time she also made a major announcement just within the month of August. We're going to be expecting very major, interstate high-level meetings. The first being that with the President Donald Trump of the United States of America. This is on the 27th of August. And then just literally 3 days after, Theresa May, who is the Prime Minister, United Kingdom, will be in the country. And then just shortly after, the state, or rather the head of state, will be accompanied by other officials to China, for the folk meeting. And therefore, I don't know. I think there's a lot going on, especially when it comes to bilateral ties, with a key focus on the development agenda, and trade in this case is actually really taking the center stage. So now the question is, with all these efforts from other quarters, what can be done to really gain the most of it while not allowing just very few individuals,
Housekeeping. We need to do serious housekeeping. And at that point, I believe that is the school of thought that informs anyone who is backing the president right now, because he's really trying to bring the issues of, sloppiness in government, corruption and people getting away with it, losing money anyhow. Those are the kind of things that we need to be doing. There was a cabinet meeting earlier this week, and one of the things it looked into was the whole composition and structure of NYS. And now that has been changed. It will be a unit which has a board of management and led by a CEO. Something that boosts accountability, but not the point whereby you introduce a lot of bureaucracy such that you may want to understand the matter, but itafika mahali ukwame, because the nature of the bureaucracy is this thick and only a few people understand it. And if those people do not demystify it, then we no longer have the answers. We no longer know what went on. The solving of the entire matter is non-conclusive. So we need to do a lot of housekeeping. Yes, we're talking about trade. We're talking about bilateral ties. We're talking about international relations. We're talking about our foreign policy, diplomacy, and how it fits into building this nation and ensuring that the Big Four agenda and largely Vision 2030 is achieved. But again, as much as we're going to attract effort from out there, when they come, what do they see? When they come, what do they relate with? What do their common senses interact or tell them about this nation, about our very own house? It counts. It really counts. I mean, I could be attracted by the aroma of a very nice meal that you're preparing in your house. But as soon as I go through the door, that's not the kind of environment I want to be enjoying my meals at. I would rather have another meal that could be of, less culinary appearance or whatever.
It's not well dressed.
It's not well everything, but we know we can work around it because the environment allows it, other than having a very well cooked meal, but it is being served in an environment that will not allow you to enjoy it. So at the end of the day, the answer is with housekeeping. We need to sort our own house.
And it also, we as a country, as Kenyans, also need to love ourselves and value ourselves. Let us not allow our country to be some sort of dumping site.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything that is being tested, everything that is counterfeit, everything that is not fit for human consumption finds its way through our borders. We need to love ourselves and appreciate ourselves enough to say no, to get to a level where we can say no, this is not something that we want. It may be affordable, we may be in desperate need for it, but for as long as it does not meet the standards of what we require as Kenyans, as human beings, then we say no. And the moment we get to that point, then we will have less of these counterfeit products and impurities, being imported into our countries.
Of furniture, of course, that much is true, and of course now that means the buck lies on the supervisory bodies, in this case maybe the KEBS. And of course for me, another body that I think should really take charge is the Public Service Commission, which is the body very much responsible for the operation of, public workers and stuff like that. And of course we can see this group of the human resource in this country plays such a major role in determining how fast our economy grows and how relatable that growth would be in such a competitive corporate world. And of course, just yesterday, again, the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, this is Stephen Kerogo, takes the reins of power right at the Supreme Court. And the challenge posed to him by the Chief Justice of this country, Chief Justice Kenani Maraga, again, was that he needs to really, have major changes right in the Public Service Commission. And that goes a long way because, I mean, they are in charge of ensuring all the public workers, are really up to, task, and they're doing everything that is supposed to be done. So, and of course, well apart from the supervisory bodies, the citizenry, which is actually the overall boss, if in my understanding and my way of seeing things, they should really hold accountable these kind of people, because such provisions are actually in the Constitution. Hold them accountable, raise concerns, follow the right channels, probably the courts, and maybe to question what has been done and what then should be the solutions. But most importantly, what should be the preventative measures. And I think with such a very weighty discussion right here on on Good Morning Kenya, we have come to the close of the first, or rather second, interactive segment.
That's very true.
Yeah, on Good Morning Kenya. But what else do we have in store right here on Good Morning Kenya?
You know what? Today's show is all about creating memories, all right? Living through them, appreciating them, and having them last over time. It is a special show for all of us right here on Good Morning Kenya. Would like to do a special shout out to Ruth Odanga. She is the CEO of Ruthie J Platinum Events, that is RJP. She is the hands behind what you see, and we really appreciate that. Ruth, thank you so much. A friend indeed, who comes through when I am in need, when we are in need. Thank you so much, Ruth Odanga and your team, RJP, Ruthie J Platinum Events. As you can see, this is our enchanted forest. This is where we're watching our show from. I mean, this is where you're watching the show from. So thank you so much to them. And all of you who've already started participating, I'd like to say a special shout out to all of you who are saying we look good this morning, and the set looks amazing, and especially a friend of mine called James Njomo. I appreciate you this morning, and thank you so much for watching the show. My name is Samuel Njoroge. We need to take a break. Photography as an art is coming up. Ooh, photos will be taken on this set. And also we have Ali. He is you chora. I want to get the term right.
Pencil artist.
Pencil artist. Thank you so much, Safin. Pencil artist who will be also gracing this very studio. Remember, it's the only way to start your day, right, ladies?
Of course.
So keep it right here. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Samuel Njoroge. She's Safina Chieng. And extreme left, Rose Gakuo, my guest. No, my co-host.
Wow, okay, those are very many titles in the morning. But, well, we'll take that. And thank you so much, of course, for keeping us company. Do stand by for that segment where we have so much art that will be showcased right here on our set. That break now, do not go too far.